This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, October 21st, 2005, and this is episode number 13 for Walt Disney World Today. I'm your host, Matt Hochberg from mgmstudios.org. And we also have Mike, Hope My Fantasy Football Team Does Better This Week Than Last Week, Scopa, from mouseplanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Play ball.
And we've also got the
that might be your problem, Mike, right there.
Yeah.
Wrong sport.
Right.
And we've also got the man who loves his blue font, Len Testa of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
I got creative with the intros this week.
It was nice. It was nice. Good times.
Today, though...
About time. Watch us eat our own on this episode of WWE Today.
Well, today we're actually going to be discussing holidays around the world, where Epcot is decked out for the winter holidays. Holidays Around the World runs November 25th, 2005 through January 8th, 2005. Now, guys, what is Holidays Around the World?
Well, it's actually several things, Matt. Let's enter the theme park, and we'll walk past Spaceship Earth, and we'll walk over to, what is that called? World Showcase Plaza, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And they have what is known as the Lights of Winter. The Lights of Winter is best described as a long, white, I guess I'd call it a trellis that is lined with millions of lights, it seems like. And these lights are synchronized to some music that is played over these huge speakers. And if you stand in front of that trellis and listen to the speakers and watch the lights, you will be just mesmerized by the lights, as that trellis spans the bridge that goes over from Future World to World Showcase, and that is the first thing that you see in Epcot that tells you that there's something special going on during this time of the year.
Yeah, it's a fantastic effect. I mean, the lights, the music, the whole atmosphere, really, really good. It's that in and of itself might be worth the price of admission.
Len, is that, I think that's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra music that they play. Do you happen to know?
Is it really the Trans-Siberian? I don't know. I've got I just picked up a CD of theirs. I'll let you know in the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you. I'll put a question in it.
Put a question in. It's I don't know if you know the website. It's www.today.com.
Okay. Mike from WDW Today asked.
Hold on.
Well, in addition to the lights that Mike talked about, there's also the tree lighting ceremony, which occurs nightly at World Showcase Plaza.
Right.
And there's also themed storytellers around the World Showcase Lagoon. Now, what are some things that guests should look for? What are the things that you really shouldn't miss about this event?
Wow.
Well, I think the storytellers in and of themselves are pretty good. You definitely want to get a sample of those. In particular, I like the UK has Father Christmas, which he does like a 15-20-minute talk on how certain Christmas carols were written, and then also the history of Christmas cards, which I know doesn't sound interesting, but the guy really pulls it off. I mean, great stage presence. Essentially what he does is goes to either one end of the UK, one corner of the UK streets, or finds a small area around the gazebo and tells the story. So it's a very informal presentation. People just gather around him, and he does his thing. Again, 15-20 minutes, takes some questions, pats the kids on the head and everything. It really does a very good job on it. Some of them are much better than others. The guy in Norway is a gnome, and they picked the guy out. I'm sure that they selected the cast member because he actually is probably gnome-like in real life.
When he lives in a tree. And
I'm just saying, he's just a little bit too Keebler for me. When you put him in the elf costume, it's too much, and it's a little creepy, frankly, especially when he's patting the kids on the head. You get a little Michael Jackson effect going there. And I'm sure the guy's absolutely fine. He does a great job on the story. It just looks a little weird, but he really does look like an elf. What else is pretty good? Actually, China doesn't do a Christmas story, but they do of course, just like my family always celebrates, it's the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
A time-honored family tradition.
Exactly. In the Testa household, dating
Yes,
all the
Virginia,
way
there
back
is a
to
Monkey
sort of-
King.
Yes. Morocco explains Ramadan, which is interesting. France does Père Noël, which is the good spirit of the season. Canada does Papa Noel, an elf again. A lot of elves. So you've got elves, you've got gnomes, you've got Monkey Kings. It's it's a veritable United Nations of Christmas.
Well, I
You're
think
forgetting your own country, your own heritage there, Mr. Testa.
The United States? I'm from
You're
Ohio,
forgetting-
Mike. I don't know what the hell you're talking
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
about.
You're forgetting Italy. You're forgetting Italy with La Befana.
That's right, the witch.
The very, well, I guess you'd call her the good-hearted witch. And actually, I think that she discusses Epiphany, which is this year. I think it's going to be January 5th. I think it's always January 5th. But she's like you said, she's supposed to be some good witch who brings gifts. She climbs down chimneys and fills the shoes of all the children with all these little treats. And
Oh, that's a new story this year, then.
yeah, she's a pretty good storyteller. She's really good to listen to if you get a chance.
Excellent.
And Len, you also forgot. Man, Len, you're dropping the ball today. You forgot
Dude, I'm sorry.
your favorite nighttime spectacular, Illuminations, has.
I was saving it for
session.
last. I did not forget.
Okay.
I wanted to cover all the countries first. Well, let's just say the U.S. also does Hanukkah and Kwanzaa stories. And last year they did the world's largest gingerbread house. And I commented on this last year that it was proof that Western civilization continues to advance. If they do it again this year, my comment will once again ring true. But now that you mentioned it, yes, let's talk about Illuminations, Reflections of Earth with the holiday touch. I think one could modestly call it the greatest fireworks spectacular in the history of mankind.
You know, I've heard that. I totally agree with you. And I have a terrible story. I was down there for Christmas last year. That was the first year they ran it.
Yeah.
And it was getting late. I was tired. I was there with my sister. She was tired. And we said, okay, you know what? Let's go back to the hotel, take it early tonight. And I missed seeing it live. And I've regretted it all year, and I can't wait to come see it again when I go down this holiday season.
Seeing it live for me was like seeing Eddie Van Halen play guitar live the first time. It was one of those things where you realized that the world is bigger than you ever imagined. It was. I saw it with Scopa. Mike and I were there last year for the first time I saw it. It does the regular Illuminations thing, but in the end, Walter Cronkite comes on, and again, Walter Cronkite is practically a saint in American culture. He does his 2 or 3 minute story on. I didn't even listen. I was just impressed by the effects. Mike, you might know what he actually said. And then the fireworks come, and it's sustained shells. It's got to be for like what, a minute and a half, to the point where the ground is actually rumbling beneath your feet. Your chest is thumping from the effects, and it's the reds and the greens and the whites all over, and the whole sky is filled with explosions. And really, nothing says Christmas like explosions in the air, to me.
Absolutely.
It's just an amazing effect. I mean, again, if the trellis at the beginning of Epcot isn't worth the admission, and you do nothing else your entire trip, see this one thing. Absolutely fantastic. But Mike, what did Cronkite even say? I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I'd actually seen it for the first
Something
time.
about God and Christmas and whatever.
Well, it was peace, because the theme for that Christmas
Peace on
tag was Peace on Earth, and it started off with the song "Let There Be Peace on Earth," and I remember the very moving lights and water that was at the beginning of that show, and then how it just build and build and build, and like you said, it was just. I think it was something like a 7-minute finale. It was just amazing.
It was just insane. I mean,
we were showered with ash, if you remember. We were showered with ash.
Right.
I had seen it the night before. We had watched it from the plaza, and the night before I had watched it from Canada, and I had gotten showered with the ash too. So, and the ground had shaken over there too. So it was just an amazing experience. And I have to think that the crowds are going to be unbelievable this year.
So
yeah, they said that in terms of pyrotechnics, they do. It's something like half as many shells as they use in Illuminations they use again in the last 2 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
So it's like 50% of the fireworks that you're going to see are all at once in the last couple of minutes.
So don't miss Walter Cronkite at Illuminations.
It's good.
Thank you.
That's the way it is.
And
It's really
the way
good.
it
If
is.
we can do Robin Williams, we can recreate the
The animation movie.
exactly the better animation movie. I might add. But anyway.
That's for another show again. But along with holidays around the world, there's also Candlelight Processional, which is running in its 35th year. It runs at the American Gardens Theater in World Showcase in Epcot. And what it really is, if you really want to sum it up, is it's holiday music sung by a live choir with a celebrity narrator. And there's all sorts of narrators. I've seen her, Rita Moreno was there. There's Phil Donahue. And there's that guy who, I can't pronounce his name, Jim. He played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, Jim Kaza something.
I call him
Mazel.
JC.
And also Uncle Jesse, John Stamos will also be there. I've seen it. I think it's well done. I'm not, and I'm Jewish, and I thought it was a really.
So really, that's about the biggest endorsement you're going to get.
I thought, it's really.
I went
well
out and
done.
joined Jews for Jesus. It was not good. Go ahead.
No, it's really worth seeing. It's great. You get a seat, you can sit down, which is probably most important. It's a nice little segue to do between dinner and Illuminations, and it's really fun. Mike, you said you've seen it before, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned the word dinner, and I would like to touch base on the Candlelight Processional dinner package that is offered, and I'd like to just say that I would recommend that anyone who is thinking about attending Candlelight Processional performance should think about getting a dinner package with it. The package includes a dinner at one of the Epcot restaurants, and what that gives you is guaranteed seating at a particular performance. Otherwise, you have to wait in line easily 90 minutes to get.
Oh yeah, it's really the only way you're going to get in.
Yeah, so it's really a good idea to get a dinner package, and I believe there are 3 levels of restaurants: a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3. And the price for the Candlelight Processional dinner package runs anywhere from about $31 for an adult for tier 1, all the way up to $46 for tier 3. To give you an idea of what the tiers are, tier 1 would be I think it's the Garden Grill, the Beer Garden. Tier 2 restaurants, which the entrees go for about $39. It's San Angel Inn, Marrakesh, Nine Dragons, Rose and Crown, and the real expensive ones, which will cost you for adults about $46. Chefs de France, Coral Reef, Alfredo's, Len's favorite, Le Cellier, which I'm going to take in on the 29th of November, and
Right.
Mitsukishi Teppanyaki. So
I think in the middle
really-
group, Marrakesh is probably the best value. And
Yeah, you're probably right.
a couple decent options in the upper end.
But I recommend doing the dinner package and doing the first show.
The 5 o'clock show?
5 o'clock show, and then make a 6:30 reservation. Combine that 5 o'clock show with a 6:30 to 6:45 reservation at one of the restaurants, so that you can finish your meal and get around World Showcase to watch that Illuminations.
See, I was thinking that I would prefer an earlier dinner, and I'd rather see the Candlelight Processional at night. Just something about the lighting and the stage at night, especially if it gets cooler after dark. It feels a little bit more wintry. But maybe the 6:45. It'd probably be dark around 6:45 after the time changes, right?
Yeah,
It always gets real wintry in Florida.
Well, but still, relatively speaking, it's not bad. It can
Yep,
get cold.
I know.
So you're still wearing shorts. I remember doing data collection a couple of years while they were doing the Candlelight Processional, and always being able to take a couple of minutes when you hit the American Adventure to see it. It's it's really stunning. The choral groups, you're not going to see that in anywhere outside of a large city. A couple hundred people on stage. They're all pretty good, singing Christmas carols. You're just not going to get that outside of like Radio City Music Hall. So.
Yep, definitely not to be missed.
Yep, very good.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 13 of Walt Disney World Today. Be sure to visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com for the show notes, as well as the ability to send us all your comments about this podcast. And please be sure to send all of your questions to questions@wdwtoday.com. We'd love to hear from you. As always, you can look for our new shows on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of every week. For Len Costa, Mike Scova, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you next show.